Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jake from TJ, and welcome back to the Mariners franchise. And in the last episode, we did kind of round out the month of May as we move into the month of June. But we start this month out with terrible news. Justin Turner tears his Achilles. So that pretty much ends his season. We signed him on a one-year deal, so that pretty much puts an end to this. And we have to find another bat to replace him because he is hitting .311. Very impressive, a very good year for a 36-year-old, and he's shown no signs of decline. So, you know, if he's available, I might bring him back again. You never know. So we do look at our options. So Jarred Kelenic is a top option here. He's our top prospect right now, but I just don't want to rush him. And it worked with JP Crawford. He was kind of 69, 70 overall-ish, and I moved him up and it worked out. But then I looked at Ronald Marte. This was a guy that I thought was going to make the opening day roster, but he just did not perform well in spring training, so I decided to keep him down. He's hitting .277 in the minors right now. He's progressing pretty much in every statistical category, and I just want that power to get up just a little bit. But I'm going to give him the call. I think he's ready. He's 74 overall, but with morale, he's actually up to 70. He'll be past 76. So we'll have to see how he performs. So he's going to play in this first game right away versus the Angels here on the road. And the Angels are not really in the race, but we need to kind of beat these teams when we get the opportunity because the Texas Rangers are right on our heels. So let's look at our lineup. He is going to hit in the 6th hole, and he is facing Jose Urena, the former Marlin, and he's 3-4 on the year and not really having a great season. So here he is for his first at bat with the man on first base. That's Vogelback, and he hits one to right field, and I think that's actually Freeze at first. I'm not sure, but he is going to fly out in his first at bat. So let's move on to his second at bat. 0 for 1 now. Still, Urena is on the mound here. He pitches one inside, and he's going to inside out that one, and that's going to be an easy ground ball. So 0 for 2 start for Marte. Let's move on to his third at bat. Facing Alex Meyer on the mound. He's going to pitch one, and he's going to hit one to right field, and that is going to be the first major league hit for Ronald Marte. Remember, Marte was, I believe, our 2nd round pick in the first year player draft. He might be 2nd or 3rd round. I forgot. But he's actually, you know, shown the most promise out of all of our prospects. And you can see here he is with Uebiyashi at the plate, rounding second. And he's got decent speed with 62. He's going to head home, and he's going to slide in safe. Actually, that's a stand-up at home. And he scores the first run of his career. So Uebiyashi comes through and makes it 3-0. Let's move on to his fourth at bat here. Guys on first and second on a 3-2 count, and he kind of just swings that one out of the zone. We're a little bit anxious here, trying to get some hits with him. But here we bring up the fifth at bat here in the top of the 9th. 2-2 count, 2 outs. Guys on first and second again. And here he hits one to right field, and that one is going to get past the second baseman. He might have his first RBI here, and he does. 4-0, Ronald Marte, 2 for 5. That's not a bad start to your MLB career. Welcome to the show. And one thing that, you know, he's going to do well, he's going to make good contact. He's going to be a good contact hitter. He's not much of a fielder because he has good fielding, but his arm strength is just too low. I mean, right now I cannot put him in the field. I can put him at first base, and that's pretty much where he'll play. That is a secondary position for him, but right now that's where he's going to live. So we do move on to the draft now. We're already to the draft here in Season 3, and we are losing a draft pick in the 2nd round. So we start out this first round here at pick 20, and let's just look at the candidates. I'm looking at 80 potential guys that are not 2025 plus. I want to stick within the 3-year range. I kind of like to do that. I don't like to get the guys that are like way too far in the future, because then sometimes you might draft like a 40 overall guy. You never know. So then we look at a couple guys. Lee Yang, Picone was the first guy. I mean, he was pretty good, but I like Yang because I do need a corner infielder that actually has good defense. And look at his potential, man. 80 potential arm strength. He actually has good contact as well. He would be another lefty, though, which I'm kind of sad about because I'm sick of getting all these lefties. But then we go to Marco Ramirez. He's pretty good too, a 20-year-old pitcher, and he's a good option. Jonah Mueller, looking at him, he looks like an all-around hitter. He has the potential to be a really good just guy you hit at the top of the lineup. He has great contact, good speed. He actually needs to get that arm strength and arm accuracy up. It looks like he's just going to be just about average, maybe a little above average. And then we look at Herschel Gallo, but he's a relief pitcher. He's 22 years old, and I don't want to draft a relief pitcher in the first round. So we decide to go back to Lee Yang and go after him, and that is going to be our first round selection. So remember, we lose that second round pick because we signed Kluber in the offseason. I believe the qualifying offer was extended to him, so we do lose that pick. So let's move on to the third round, where we have a couple of good candidates. But Giancarlo Garcia is 24 years old. I really like him a lot, but he's 24. So I don't want to go after a guy that's too old. I've actually seen more 24-year-olds in this draft than any other draft I've seen. But then we circle around to Andy Hess. He's 22 years old, 70 potential, 70 overall. I mean, that's pretty decent. He actually has the potential to be really good in the field, and this is what intrigues me. He's 75 speed and has a potential to be 80 arm strength. I gotta go with that, because if I can get a defensive center fielder or a defensive outfielder, which is something we don't have right now, we can really do some things as far as in the playoffs, and just having good defensive fielders is really important. It's really important when it comes down to it. So then we look back in the fourth round. Pablo Racon is still there, and he was actually one of the guys I was looking at in the first round. He's a 2024 ETA. He's got good potential, and I just like him overall. I think he's a first round talent, and we snagged him in the fourth. So now we move on to the fifth, and this is where I just reach, because I just want to go after guys that are higher potential, that are kind of intriguing. You see, we don't have a lot of guys' accuracy here, and our scouts usually do a pretty good job of being accurate, even if the accuracy meter is a little close to half or so. But I circled around to two guys, Richie Lopez and the other first baseman there. But Richie Lopez, just look at him. So he's a 70 potential guy. He's 65 overall. ETA is actually in 2 years. Remember, we're in 2021, and he's 20 years old. We can develop this guy. He looks like an all-around player who can play the corner infield. Like I said, I was looking for corner infielders in this draft. I think our pitching staff is pretty deep in the minors, and we haven't had to move anybody up yet, which is a plus, except Justice Sheffield. But look at him. I mean, he's got good speed for a first baseman. He's got good fielding as well. So I really, really like that pick. I hope he turns out to be a really good player. Then in the last round, you know, this is just where you just swing for the fences. Robbie Hilton is 70 potential, but let's just go for an 80 potential guy. See what we do. I mean, if we get him, if he's a good player, he's a good player. If he's not, he's not. So that is going to finish off the draft. So let's take a look at our picks. Lee Yang is decent, 19 years old, B potential, 60 overall. I'll take it. I mean, that's not too bad. And looking at his arm strength, I think that's going to be probably the best part of his game eventually, and that's what I want. I want a guy that's a good, you know, defensive player on the corner infield. But then we miss. Andy Hess ends up being a D potential 65 overall player. I did not think that he would be that low, but it looks like we missed. But then we got a little bit of a steal in the fourth round. Pablo Rincon, he ends up being B potential, 63 overall, a guy that we can develop. I'm not mad at this pick. He's 22, so he's going to have about 3 to 4 years to develop and see what he has before he's eventually moved up. Richie Lopez, though, the pick I was the most excited about. I really, really like this pick. C potential, 71 overall, and he's 20 years old. I mean, look at the power on this guy already. He's going to develop that even more, and depending on how he performs in the minors, he can eventually, you know, move that potential up to a B. So that might actually be the steal of our class here. Not the greatest class, but I'm not mad at it because I really liked Richie Lopez in that late fifth round. So now we hop back into some MLB action. Malik Smith here in a matchup versus Tampa Bay, with an opportunity to extend a hit streak and also give us some insurance runs in this game. Here in the seventh inning, he hits a pitch down the left field line, and that's going to be a hit and an RBI double for Malik Smith. So Malik Smith, you know, he did move from that leadoff spot, And, you know, no love lost, as he's still locked up on our team, and he's well a part of our future. And we go on to win this game 13-10 as we get 19 hits. I mean, our offense is doing numbers this year, it seems. So this is how we start out the month of June. We kind of go through this 3-game set versus the Tampa Bay Rays. We win 2 of 3, so not a bad start to June. 6-2. I'll take it. So now we hop into this matchup versus the Chicago Cubs. Kyle Hendricks on the mound, and he's 8-1, 1.77 ERA, and a .92 whip. I mean, man, he is having himself a year. And we decide to give Justice Sheffield the start in this game. Not the best years he's having for sure. I don't really know if he's really a part of our future plans, but we had to give the guy a shot. He's an A potential prospect who is now kind of coming out of the bullpen. I want to give him a start just to give the starters a rest, and he's facing a tough lineup led by Chris Bryant, hitting .333 on the season in the 3-hole. So here he is starting out the game on the mound. Javier Baez, he cannot hit that one. That's way out of the zone. Here's Chris Bryant. He's watching that one. A changeup on the outside part of the plate. So Justice Sheffield's looking good. Jed Jerko comes up. He's going to swing and miss there for his 3rd strikeout of the game. And Justice Sheffield facing Anthony Rizzo, who's been traded 6 times in this franchise. He flies out to center field. So let's move on to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Here is David Freese at the plate. He's drawing a walk there facing Hendricks, and we got our first base runner of the game on base. Here's Uebiyashi. He's going to hit a ground ball this time to Bryant at 3rd base, but he can't handle that one, and it's going to go as a fielder's choice. So up comes Omar Narvaez. He gets a hanger, and that's going to be slapped to center field, and it's going to be bobbled. And look at Uebiyashi. He is on his horse, headed home, and he's going to score all the way from 1st base. And that's what I thought he would be in the leadoff spot going into this year, but he just hasn't hit for average, and I can't have him, you know, basically hitting around 250 as a leadoff guy. I need a guy that can actually get on base, but he scores on that one, so I'm not mad. So we move on to the top of the 4th inning. Baez getting the chance for his 2nd at bat. He's going to hit one up the middle, and that's going to be a hit for Javier Baez. Up comes Almora Jr., but he is going to swing and miss, and Justice Sheffield gets his 5th strikeout. So that brings up Chris Bryant, who he leaves one over the middle for, and that one is not coming back. Chris Bryant with the home run to left field, making it a 2-1 game, and that's exactly what I did not want to do there, is pitch right to Chris Bryant. I kind of wanted to pitch around him a little bit, but he ends up making us pay, and now it's 2-1 Cubs. So now we move this one on to the bottom of the 4th inning. Here is Marwin Gonzalez, who is leading our team in average. He hits one over the 3rd baseman's head, but look at this. He's on his horse heading to 2nd, but a little too aggressive. He gets thrown out on that one, and we just cannot get anything going as Hendricks is just pitching well. One thing about facing Kyle Hendricks in this game is that you got to adjust to the pitch speed. He pitches about in the mid-80s for a fastball. I mean, that's just his fastball. His changeup is in the low 70s, and his curveball is pretty much in the low 70s and high 60s. It's definitely an adjustment, especially when they bring a flamethrower out of the bullpen, or they just bring him out of the bullpen, which he's a starter, so they won't do that. But the pitch speed is definitely something you have to get used to. So Justice Sheffield in a little bit of trouble. Facing Phillip Ervin here in the 5th inning. Guys on 1st and 2nd. 1-2 count. A low slider. And Ervin, he takes it deep to right field, and that one is going to sneak over the wall. That's just a good swing on a pitch that was a low slider, and Ervin hits his 11th home run of the season, making it a 5-1 game. So we find ourselves in a hole here in the 6th inning, and look at this. Tim Beckham hits a missile out of here. I did not expect that one to get over the wall, but Beckham is just having himself another good year, and he makes it 5-2. So we're still in this game. So no outs here, still in the 6th inning. Paul DeJong at the plate. He goes to opposite field and hits one to right field. And look at this. They're going to bobble this one, and once again, we're going to try to get to 2nd, but this time it's safe. So Paul DeJong on his horse. They actually credit him with a double on that one. I don't know what they were thinking on that. So here comes Marwin Gonzalez up at the plate. He's going to pop up to center field. That's an easy can of corn in center. And that brings up Vogelback here with 1 out. 0 for 2 in this game. He's going to have to step up here in Justin Turner's absence. And we try to run here on the fake throw. And look at this. Paul DeJong gets tagged out. That's a heads-up play that time by Baez. So now with 2 outs, here's David Freese at the plate. He hits one to the right side, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway. And that is an out there for Addison Russell. So now we move on to the 8th inning. Here is Tim Beckham swinging at an inside pitch way out of the zone, but it's supposed to be a check swing, and it winds up in play, and it's actually an errant throw. So now we got a man on first base. Here's Paul DeJong at the plate. He's going to swing and miss, and it doesn't look like our offense is getting going in this game, as that brings up Marwin Gonzalez again. He gets a hit to the right side, and that one does sneak through. So 2 outs, maybe a little rally coming on as they bring in Carl Edwards Jr. And he's doing decent. I mean, hitters are hitting around 260 versus him. So up comes Vogelback. He's going to keep the inning going. So 2 outs here in this inning. And now up comes a very, very clutch player in David Freese. Can he tie this game up with 1 swing in the bat? Hitting over 300 on the season. 3-2 count, 2 outs. The pitch is going to be missed. A high and in tight cutter, and David Freese cannot make contact with that one. And that was the closest we'll get to even getting close to tying this game up, as the Cubs go on to win it 6-2, as Chris Bryant makes us pretty much his you-know-what with 2 home runs. So look at this. We actually are doing pretty well on offense. Marwin Gonzalez is top 5 in average. Looking at doubles, Malik Smith is 5th in doubles, actually tied for 2nd. I mean, they're giving him 5th, but he's tied for 2nd. And Marwin Gonzalez is right behind him. He's got 17 doubles. RBIs, look at us, we're right in at the top. Paul DeJong, 49. Tim Beckham, 47. We're doing really well. Look at the Yankees, man. I mean, they have 3 guys. Betts, Andujar, and Judge are all at the top in pretty much every hitting category, it seems. Corey Kluber is 10-0 on the season. I mean, just having a fantastic season. A 1.26 whip, maybe not the best whip, but he's getting it done. No losses. He's the only qualifying starter here to be undefeated. And let's see how long he can keep that going, as Kirby Yates has 20 saves as well. That will peg him at 2nd in the AL. Maybe he's on his way to an all-star game. We'll have to see, but he's having a good year. He's got 2 blown saves, though, but, you know, 20 saves, I'll take it. I think we had 20 all season last year. So just looking at our stats here as we are post-draft a couple of days after, Marwin Gonzalez leads our team, and Omar Narvaez is definitely benefiting from the platoon role that we have him in. He's hitting over 300, and Wellington Castillo is not adjusting to the platoon role. He's hitting below 200. So let's look at AAA. You know, a lot of guys here that I have my eye on, especially Jared Kelenic, hitting 298. So he's just around 300. Warner Zamora is there as well. But Adam Walker is a name that I want you guys to just keep in your head. He's hitting pretty decent, but he's progressing. This is a guy that I picked up here in the first season because, you know, I am from Wisconsin, and he is a guy that I grew up playing with. So I kind of kept him on our team, and he's actually doing pretty decent. Kyle Seager is hitting around 259 on the season, and it's kind of where I would expect him to hit. And that's the reason why he hasn't really been at the major league level, because, you know, I need a guy that's going to hit at least in that kind of roll off the bench, like 270. I mean, just give me 270, but Kyle Seager just hasn't been able to do that. Elliot Ramos in AA is hitting pretty well. He's hitting 298, and I really like his progression. He's going to progress along with Jared Kelenic. I want to see how those 2 guys are going to progress together. And then I want to keep an eye on Julio Rodriguez. He's one of the top prospects in the Mariners organization in real life, but he's 20 years old. This is a dark horse to be one of the future stars of this team. He's got great arm strength, 77 right now, and I just expect him to take off. But another guy that just hasn't been the same since season 1, Kyle Lewis. He's still around mid-60s overall, and I don't really like the way he's going in this franchise right now, hitting below 200. So that's going to do it for this episode. Next episode, we will round out the month of June. Then we will move into the All-Star break, and then probably 2 or 3 episodes to end the season. So it's probably going to be 5 more episodes in this season. We'll have to see. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.